Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we're going to talk about that there Blackstone Fortress announcement of the Traitor Ogryn and the Traitor Commissar. Now, the models are pretty cool. Admittedly, I don't play Blackstone Fortress. In fact, I don't own Blackstone Fortress because my build and paint queue is hefty enough without adding all of that on top of it. Plus expansions, it's getting kind of hefty, that particular game. But those two specifically make me very, very happy for a multitude of reasons. But primarily because it brings us one step closer to something that I really, really want. That, of course, is Traitor Guard, an actual Traitor Guard codex. Because now, when you look at the Blackstone Fortress stuff as a whole, we have a Traitor Commissar, we have a Traitor Ogryn, we have Traitor Guardsmen, we've got Psychers that are all traitory and renegade. We're slowly building up through this particular game all the things you would need to produce a fully fledged Traitor Guard codex. And the thing is, for me there are two aspects of Chaos that are not represented nearly well enough on the tabletop, if at all. And that is Dark Mechanicum, or Dark Mechanicus, sorry, and Traitor Guard. The way it's kind of presented at the moment in terms of Chaos, especially for Warhammer 40k, is you have Chaos Space Marines who have a bunch of cultists with them. In fact, at the moment, it's more sort of Codex Chaos cultists with a few Marines put in for good measure. And you have the Demons, and that's it. In terms of the representation of Chaos in Warhammer 40k, Super Soldiers, Cultists, Demons, and that's about it. The thing is, it's way more complicated than that. You have the Dark Mechanicus, you have this group of tech heretics who go around actually innovating, melding demon with technology, doing all kinds of interesting stuff, and they are nowhere to be found. Admittedly, we do have things like the Forge Fiend, the Hell Brute, the Mauler Fiend, the Hell Chicken. It's not that, it's the Hell Drake. But those are wrapped up in Chaos Space Marine armies. They're not their own thing. They are not directly representative of the Dark Mechanicus. Another thing is Traitor Guard. See, something that is just not pointed out in the tabletop, something that appears in books all the time, but never really is represented on the tabletop, is the fact that you have this entire vast horde of mortals with the weapons, with the tanks, with the aircraft that they got whilst they were loyal, marching on behalf of the Chaos Gods. The Horus Heresy does a really good job of pointing out that it's not just Space Marines that have switched over. It's not just Primarchs that have turned their back on the Emperor. It's not just the Legions, fully half of the Legions, who have decided to side with Horus. There are entire regiments of Imperial Guard who have also spat on their oaths and have turned against the Imperium. It's the same in Warhammer 40k. That's not changed. Entire planets fall to chaos. Entire regiments fall to chaos. Cults sow their seed, they grow. A planet becomes consumed by one of the four, or indeed is just overtaken by chaos and divided as a whole. And then you end up with this entire army of mortals loyal to either the Pantheon or to one of the four specific gods. But that's not shown on the tabletop. It's not shown at all. There should be an option for Traitor Guard. There should be some sort of codex or index. Because it's not just Chaos Space Marines. It's not just demons that are dispatched to do the bidding of the Chaos Gods. There is an entire mortal contingent that is just simply not present. And it bugs me because the Imperium itself is very well represented. We have Admech, we've got Space Marines, we've got Grey Knights, got Death Watch, Imperial Guard, the Inquisition, well, to a degree. Sisters of Battle are also showing up again now. Admittedly, they've languished in that weird 50-50 of dead and not dead and sort of being supported but not really being supported for a while, but they're getting an entire new range. We know this, we have the beta rules for them. Traitor Guard, however, make up a huge amount of the Chaos Gods' forces, and yet they're just not there. Now, the thing is, there will be those of you who sit there and go, yeah, but Kiri, Forge World did an entire, Renegades and Heretics. That was a whole army. Imperial Armour 13, all the rules for that. Yes, true. But where is that now? We don't have that anymore. That's gone. It's gone, and not only do I think it's not enough, because something that is solely represented through Forge World, to me, is not going to have enough of a tabletop presence to be worth talking about in that context, but it also is no longer really an option, because you can't get that stuff anymore. But if you look at Blackstone Fortress, we basically have now all the things that you need to produce a Traitor Guard codex, or even an index. To be honest, I wouldn't sniff at index. I wouldn't be like, it should have been so much more. What I want is that representation on the tabletop. What I want is for Traitor Guard to be an actual force. For something that's not counts as, not just like, oh yeah, they're Traitor Guard. They actually have their own set of rules. They can interact properly with Chaos Space Marines, with Renegade Knights, with Demons, all of that. We don't really have that. And the thing is now, with a Traitor Ogryn, if those arrive in a pack of 3, if they're sold separately, then you have, I think it's an elite slot, isn't it, the Ogryns? You've got the Commissar, got a bunch of Traitor Guardsman models to choose from. If those are expanded out and sold in packs of, 10, like the current Imperial Guard are, what do you actually need to bring that up to a full army list? Well, you need all the stuff that Imperial Guard already get. You already get Lehman Russes, you already get, like, the Chimera chassis stuff, between the Hellhound and the Manticore and all that stuff. You've already got Valkyries, Baneblades, Sentinels. There is an entire Chaos vehicle sprue that you get with every Chaos vehicle. So, how do you differentiate a Traitor Lehman Russ from a normal Lehman Russ? Well, you stick a Chaos vehicle sprue in with the Lehman Russ. Job done. Sorted. Even an index that just broke things down and gave points values and specific keywords, that would be enough to get Traitor Guard on the table. And it wouldn't have to be a count size thing, it would just be a that's what these are thing. This stuff for Blackstone Fortress is exciting to me, not specifically because it's stuff for Blackstone Fortress, but because when you look at the contents of the Blackstone Fortress box, all I really see from that is this might actually be a thing. Like, this is slowly ramping up. This is building up whereby the stuff that is difficult to modify, or the stuff that is a bit more complex than simply sticking a Chaos vehicle sprue in the box, all that stuff's being slowly taken care of bit by bit. We've got Psychers, we've got Guardsmen, we've got actual Dark Mechanicus units in there, we've got a Traitor Commissar now, we've got a Traitor Ogryn. We're slowly but surely building up to the point where you could feasibly run out an index, or indeed give them a full proper codex, which I would prefer, obviously, and you would have a viable Traitor Guard force with all the right keywords and the models to just go straight into the tabletop. I'm really hoping that we either see more of this stuff for Blackstone Fortress and there is enough interest that it pushes Games Workshop, or that this is just a slow build-up and we will see a Traitor Guard Codex or Index be released in maybe not the near future, but this seems to be shaping up to be the year of chaos to some degree. That would be a nice little addition to that. And it would bring some much-needed variety to chaos as a whole to the tabletop. I'm kind of genuinely hopeful that that's what this is leading to. I mean, it might not. I could be getting my hopes up for nothing. God knows it's happened before. But it feels so much more plausible than it did before. And it was already feeling something that didn't feel a million miles away. The more of this stuff we see, the more I can't help but think to myself, we might actually get this now. Maybe not in the next week or even in the next month. But it feels much more likely than it ever has before that we would actually get a proper Traitor Guard presence out of all of this. Question is, what do you think? Do you think this is building up to a Traitor Guard release? Do you think it's just going to remain part of Blackstone Fortress? Do you think they ever will break up the units that are in that game and actually put them into 40k proper? Would you expect to see a full codex, or would you expect to just see an index, sort of get the knight treatment, so to speak? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like, don't click if you don't want to, and I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.